Oh no. Oh no! Hi friends. Hello. Let me figure out how to put my camera where it needs to be. Ignore my laundry in the background. It's fine, I'm sure. Also, I look extremely washed out, but that's whatever. It's fine. This is all natural light. This is what we're working with. Hi friends, how's it going? How are you doing? Emmy? Emmy? It is a dreary, rainy day, it's true. Actually, I can probably just turn off the overhead light. I don't need it. I haven't needed it at all today. Don't mind me. I don't want you to see where I'm walking, though. There. This is fine, right? This is fine and normal. Bye-bye. That's not much better. It's fine, though. I think that's worse, actually. Hey, camera? There we go. That's actually better. Okay. No, it's doing it again. Hey, camera, I need you to stop doing this auto nonsense. Consider not doing the thing you're doing. Actually. Hold on a second. Honestly, though. No, we want that on. We want the auto white balance on. This is horrible. I'm just gonna be incredibly white today. This is fine. It's fine. It's not camera. What if I just cover the top of it? Like this. What if I just give it a little hood? Thought about it for a second. Please? No, now that covers up some of the... It's fine. I'll work on that later. Anyway, hi friends. Apologies ahead of time. This is what stream's gonna be for a little bit. Just a hot mess until I figure out all the settings that I need to have. It's fine. Yeah, we're gonna do some Evil Within today. And I'm excited about that. Because I like this game. And I've been enjoying this game. But I also have been playing Elden Ring. And also wanted to check out Doom Eternal. There's a lot of things that I want to play right now, basically, is what I'm getting at. This is fine. Yeah, it's all good. Everything is good. It's fine. I don't think I have much to say right now. As far as announcements and stuff are concerned. I think I guess, officially, most of my streams are going to start at 5 Central. Determined that. 4 o'clock just felt way too early. And 6 o'clock is way too late if I go for like 4 hours. So 5 is gonna be the usual time, I think. I also might not stream the full 4 hours today. We'll see. It's a rainy day. I've been sleepy. I took a nap today. That never happens. I don't take naps, and I took a nap. So there's that. But yeah, I think general plan is just to do the Evil Within 2 today and this weekend. Unless I decide otherwise. So, yeah, I hope y'all are doing good. I hope things are going good for y'all. I want this to go away because I don't like that it's singing. I thought I had it set to not have singing. It's fine. I should actually just turn off the music since we're gonna play the game. I didn't get a chance to, like, actually test my sound quality, so we might be a little reverberaty, we might be a little echoey. It's fine. You will definitely hear me smacking my keyboard pretty regularly. Yeah. I am gonna turn this off though. and bring all this back up. That's not where I wanted to go, actually. Listen. And there's the game. Perfect. I just need to make it bigger. Perfect. Look at that. I was afraid I was going to have to do all this other weird setup. All this other weird nonsense. Didn't even have to do nothing. I can't see... I only have the one monitor right now. Alright. So I can't see stream? I can see chat, but I can't see the actual stream itself. So if anything goes funky, I'm gonna need somebody to tell me. Because I can't see. Unless I might be able to move some things. Hold on a second. No. No, I can't. There's no space. That's okay. That's fine. But yeah, if you notice anything funky happening with how stream looks, let me know. That's... Yeah, I want to load my most recent save file. Game, yes. Mostly I'm worried the captions are going to turn off because they have the tendency to do that. So if captions decide to suddenly fuck on off, I'm gonna need you to let me know. And also, if the camera is just horrible to look at because of how white everything is, I'll just turn it off. We just won't do a face cam. But I don't have to look at it, so it's fine. What happened? What were we doing last time? We ran away from Knife Man. Photographer Knife Man. Whom I love. We don't have enough to upgrade our stuff. We already did that. Yeah, Juice? Juice the cat? Just meowing at us? It's fine. Oh, there was a door, wasn't there? Yeah, there's a spooky door. We should go check out the spooky door. It's spooky door time.
What the hell is this?
It's the hospital?
It's a chance to test your skills. Step right up and try your luck, detective.
Is this just like tutorial area?
This is insane.
Is the
You'd be insane to pass this up. Steady your hand and put your shooting skills to work.
Tatiana,
no
please.
Need to worry about ammunition in here.
Right? It's, yeah, we've got an arcade mode. Great. I hate this? I assume I don't want to shoot her. Fuck. This is fine. The applause is very good.
Hell yes.
Sebastian, please. Oh, that was easy mode. Oh, we get... Okay. We get weapon parts and gel for doing that? Maybe we do these. Maybe we actually do these? Maybe it's actually kind of worth it to do these. Can I talk to you, or are you just gonna... You're just gonna stand there? Alright. Chain attack mode. Gallery mode. Gallery mode? Not free. We did easy. Okay, I see. It tells us here. I don't know if you can see my cursor. Okay. Tells us which ones we've actually achieved. We need 2,500 points to get the gel and the weapons parts. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's go. Oh. was so fast. Please stop moving. This is fine. We're doing it. We're doing it. Amazing. Great. Nice job. Good shot.
Hell yes.
Hi, Nem. Hey, we did it. Easy peasy. Normally, I was expecting these to be much harder than they are, but maybe we just go until I lose. We did easy, we did normal. It's time for hard. 3,500 to get green gel, or to get all three at least. 8 herbs. 8 herbs. How's it going though, Nem? How are you doing? Oh, he wiggled. Oh, this is... okay, this is kind of difficult. I hate that everything wiggles all the time now. This is fine. This is fine. Why is he so fast? Did I do it though?
That's perfect. You may very well be the best detective.
I'm glad it's being a good Friday. We did so good! Again, I was really worried that these were actually going to be difficult. Plant probably doesn't have a window. You can, this is my brain? My brain? My mind palace? We can pretend that there's a window. 10,000! 10,000 pickle juice and a locker key. 4,000 points. That's gonna be a little difficult. It's true, Chicken Police did give me more guff. And there weren't any rewards except for just the, the feeling of being better than Marty. I think the highest I did was 3,800, right? You think I can do it? I might be willing to give this a couple of tries. We'll see how difficult this is. Fuck. Fuck. Give me the more time. Oh, I see. Oh, I see. That slows everyone down. These guys are too fast, and I am too wiggly. This is fine. This is fine. Why is that not hitting? I don't understand. I didn't do anywhere near good enough in that one.
You deserve a round of applause for that.
No, I don't.
I'm sure there's someone out there that will provide that for you.
That's sass, though. Okay, well, we got at least 2 of them. I want to try and get that 10,000 gel, though. I'm gonna try one more time. I don't want to sit here and waste all of our time doing this, because I can just do it off stream. But also, if I can just do it. If we can just do it. They can't all be first tries, right? I should have waited to do that. You're too wiggly. Please. Stop! Horrible. terrible even. Okay, that wasn't ideal, but it's fine. This is fine. Everything is fine. It's not. This one, I can't
Not bad.
miss a single one, can I? That's fine. The jump in difficulty between hard and very hard is a little ridiculous. What is this chain attack mode, though? Start with 30 seconds and aim for a high score. Target types. Normal. Shoot to get points and destroy any adjacent targets of the same color. Hourglass appears when you get a high combo. Shoot to gain time. X. Shooting one will lower your score. Eliminate them safely by destroying adjacent targets. Okay. Hi, Spaghetti. How's it going? How are you doing? 300 parts for the high score. Okay, let's try. How's it going, though, friend? How are you doing? Oh, I see. Oh, I see. Oh, I did that bad. Okay, yeah, X's are bad. Forgot about that. This is fine. This is fine and normal even? Okay.
I thought I was better than that. Disappointed!
Sebastian, chill, my dude! The other one, the shooting gallery, wasn't too bad. This one, I understand. I got it. Also, thank you for getting the shout out there on me. Okay, let's try this again. Now that I know what's happening. Now that there's an understanding here of what to do. There we go. Give me more time. Let's go. Let's go. What's this? Look at all the purple, though. I'm gonna just keep shooting these. Oh, this is getting harder. Give me all of those. Oh, I'm starting to, like, not know what's happening. This is fine, I'm sure. $61,000?
Still got it.
Not too bad. Okay. We got a fair amount of stuff from that, though. I'm not gonna do it again. I do just want to, like, see... Okay, yeah. I got, like, the half highest score. Yeah, first try. First try. I do want to... I'll do these off stream sometime. Try to get, like, the high score or whatever. Or if we, like, have, like, a weird amount of time at the end of stream where I don't want to start a new thing, like a new quest, but I want to continue to stream. Maybe we'll mess around with that some more. But we got some good stuff. We got some good things. So that's exciting. Can I only carry one of those? Guess I can. I'm, like, pretty much full on everything, which is kind of exciting. Pretty happy about that. Ooh, yes. Doing it. And I don't have any high-grade weapon parts, but we've increased our firepower a lot. So that's pretty great. That's pretty good. And let's go ahead and upgrade some stuff since we've got 10,000. That should be enough to do something with, right?
I see you're in need of my services again.
Tatiana, please. Go. I think we also have a key. Okay. We do. More gel! Give me the pickle juice. All of the pickle juice. Juice, juice, juicy juice. Juicy, juicy, juicy juice. Let's go ahead and get that. The good pickle juice. Pump that shit directly into my brain. This might be good. Or just more health in general. Total health recovered when generating from near-death status is increased. I kind of like that, but I think I just want to go... Oh, never mind, I don't have enough. Okay, we'll do this then. I don't know why I can't math properly when looking at this. It's fine. Okay, cool. Well, we got a bunch of upgrades last time too, didn't we? So this is very nice. Let's go ahead and save. I don't want to have to do any of that over again. I'm gonna have to do... I don't have to, but I am going to do that arcade stuff way too much anyway. The fewer times I actually have to do it, the better. What are we doing? Right, new area. There's a save point there. We are full on health. Trying to, like, remember where I've put everything. Okay. Is that? Yeah. And this is how we got in. Because we teleported here via computer. You know, like you do. This is fine. I think we're on chapter 4. I think that's what the save state told us. I really wasn't paying attention. And there are 17 chapters, if I remember properly. We'll see. Look at that view. Can I? They won't let me run off the edge? Good to know. Look at all this garbage. So much trash just floating around in the air. Is this?
Another beautiful day. I can't remember the last time it was overcast.
This must be
or
City
too
Hall.
cold.
Gotta stop this guy and
So I
save
want
them.
to lock on. But I also want to keep walking? Lock on doesn't do anything, does it? Just lets me hear what's being said. And I don't particularly... Great! Trash axe! I love trash axe. No. I can't see what's happening.
It's him.
Oh, there he is. There's our boy.
What the fuck is that?
That's a camera, friend. You use it to take pictures. You
I can't turn back now.
do you want to get up there? Buddy? Potentially? You wanna tune to the thing?
Beautiful day. I can't remember the last time it was overcast or too cold. Always feels just right. I'm truly blessed to be born and raised in Union
It's almost like it's an artificial construct.
I plan on dying here. Smell that. It smells like spring. The flower beds they planted here are really something, aren't they?
Sure, buddy. Whatever you say, pal. Alright, what do we got? What horrible, goopy mess have we stumbled across? Hi! Hi! Also, grip it and rip it.
Yeah, just you wait, asshole.
The guy who took Lily must have taken this outside that warehouse, waiting for you. So he's expecting me. It's nice and crisp. A crispest. You love to hear it. I would say it's not a race, but it kinda is. It is kind of a race. Also, there's a lot happening over here. This is fine. Cool. They want— no, I don't— I'm not walking! I don't want to go into City Hall just yet. I want to look around. Please. Oh no. Oh no. Sebastian, you should probably turn around. Hey, Sebastian! Hey, Sebastian! No! Not... It's a very big lad? Oh. Come here. Explode. Oh, this is a dead end. Oh, this is a dead end. Oh, this is bad. Oh, this is bad. Oh, this is bad. Oh, this is bad. Oh, God. I'm running. How do I do anything? I don't know what to do. You're telling me. I'm stuck again. I can't see. Everything is horrible. Emmy, you're a monster. Look, I'm already doing what I can to not shout. All right, hold on. I'm getting my timer set up. Timer is go. I can whisper now. Hi, Gucky. How's it going? It's bad here. Everything is bad here. It's all extremely bad here. Oh, it's so dang bad here. Oh, please. This isn't gonna stop her. She's gonna come in anyway. Sebastian! No, it's a terrible time. Everything is horrible. It's all bad. Where did she go? She's lost sight of me. Come here, ma'am. Through the wire, please. It's wire time. No. Yeah. It was worth it, I think. I don't know. I want to hold your hand, Gucky, but I don't think you can get that from Target. Thanks for stopping in and saying hi, though. I love Gucky here. Please, this is horrible. Oh, I hate it here. Where did my explosive bolt go? Why did it not go off? Definitely an up-and-up brand type of thing. Absolutely. Good. I'm glad. I just wanted more explosive bolts. That's all. Yeah, do your lurk. Oh, one of the mods gotta approve that. But I'm gonna do it. Where are we going? Why is it bad here? Actually, can we make... I can't make any explosive bolts. This is horrible. I guess I can just shoot her? I guess I can just shoot her. Oh, this is not what I meant to do. Stop slamming it behind you. She's not even there. I don't know that this is doing anything. Okay. I don't know what I can do. This doesn't seem to be doing anything. I haven't tried hugging it out. Oh fuck! Sebastian! Okay, this is fine. How's it going, TK? Sebastian, I need you to climb things when I fucking tell you, my guy! Holy shit! Oh no! I'm sorry things are being rough for you. Oh, work. Go! No, go through. Monster is not helping me out. That is incorrect. I think you're wrong, Emmy? Friend, I love you, but I think you're wrong. I don't know if this is doing anything. And I hate it here. This is horrible. Oh, that did it. Okay, this is fine. Oh, and I can talk again. And I can talk again at my normal volume. That was horrible and I hated that. Give me that pickle juice though. Holy shit. Okay, I have to go back and like collect everything. I used a lot of bullets for that. We love the pickle juice here. The pickle juice is very good. But hey, we've done it! Hey, we did it! First try! Are there any other items around here? Is that it? Are we full up? Oh! There is some flour over here! Give me the things! All of the things, please! I want all the things. Like this. Give me those bullets. I mean, we're doing all right, I suppose, as far as items are concerned. Welcome in, Freya. I can do a hydrate. We can do this. Pickle juice is so dang good. Listen, pickle juice is so dang good. I have 2 things of water right now. I've refilled this bottle, and I also have a glass of water here. I'm gonna be so dang hydrated. Listen, I'm gonna be so dang hydrated. I am gonna need to go get more water at some point during stream, though. Emmy's on top of it. Emmy is ready with those shoutouts. But welcome in, friend. How are you doing? How's it going? Hi, Dor.
Who's there? It's okay.
Don't worry
Harrison,
about it, my
right?
dude.
I'm not one of them.
Thanks. It's
Don't
my
worry.
it's my
Only
Stranger
you'll save
Things
me.
sweater.
I
It's got
thought I was the
Demogorgon
one
on
left.
it.
I'm looking for the core. Where is she?
It's a good sweater.
Is she here?
Second floor. The
I
stable
would
field emitter.
100% drink
Mirror.
some pickle juice,
Forget about that.
but
I'm here to find the
I
core.
don't have any on me
You
right now.
must
But I'll
turn
do
on
it.
the
I'll
emitter.
do it.
It will stabilize the environment. Without it,
Um,
Union will completely collapse.
I'm gonna assume that
Then the core won't matter.
this
Turn
is
it on.
an honest to
It will
goodness
affect his
question.
power.
But if it turns
Power.
out you're a troll,
You mean
you're just
take
gonna
this.
you're gonna get booted. I need you to understand that.
Use it to turn on the emitter.
Google exists though. Nice. I saw that you were reading some like old sci-fi stuff. That's pretty dope. Oh, we got another communicator.
team member
Nice,
down.
nice.
Wish I could have gotten more info. Don't worry, Lily. I'm
It's
still gonna
fine.
find you.
Sebastian, it's fine. We don't need any of these dudes. They're all useless anyway. Thank you, Emmy. Honestly, though, we don't like people being dumb around here. Not about it. I mean, like, I know we've talked about it previously. It's like, I'll answer honest to goodness questions, but people are dumb. Crab aliens. We do love us some crabs around here. Listen. We do love us some crabs. Why is it so dang bright over here? We do. Everything is crabs. Everything. I saw I'll have to find it because I know it's on my phone somewhere, but I have a some meme basically saying that like all of our routers, like our internet routers are slowly but surely turning into crabs. It's very good. Okay, what is this? Urgent structural issues status report. Expansion efforts put on hold. Retention of original map is paramount. In addition to fracturing of landmass and atmosphere control loss, daylight simulation has also been compromised. Countermeasures for system failures have been established, but receiving reports of previously uncategorized issues. Citizens are experiencing memory rewrites, also receiving reports of unexplained corporeal dysmorphia and violent tendencies. Please be advised. I'm not gonna be. You can't advise me. It's not allowed. I keep seeing the little icon to like hide up against stuff, and I keep thinking that there's like things there, and there's not. But that's why I keep running into walls, because I keep seeing the little arrow and being like, oh, there's a thing there. It's not. It's just the game being mean to me. Don't have enough parts to do anything with, so let's drop a save real fast. Because I like to save way too much. Oh, we're in chapter 5 already. Are we gonna have this beat by next weekend? These chapters have been going by very quickly for how, like, open some of the areas have been. Well, just the one area, actually. Because this is only, like, the second location that we've been to, isn't it? But I want to go there. But I want to go to there. Please. Please. Where else can I go? Map. Never mind. No map. Not allowed. Unacceptable. No, hey!
That's his MO. He's somewhere in here.
I like this. Emmy, not all the plants can get windows. I'm sorry. Alright, where can I go? This feels incredibly bright. Okay, this is fine. Just pretend that they're all fake plants. Fake plants don't need light. They're all fake. Hello? Zombie. Hello? Well, would you rather fake plants or neglected plants? I hate it here? Hey, I hate it here. Give me that. Give. Real fake plants can be neglected. This isn't helping. This isn't helping, Travis. Okay. Hello?
What's this about?
Welcome back. Do what you gotta do. Though these flowers are beautiful, something seems off about them. You have a feeling that you should be extra careful with those thorns. Do I need to... Hold on. Okay. Do I have to set the scene? Oh no.
What's this? This camera's so old. Must mean something.
Can I rotate the lady? Oh, I hate this. Okay, hold on. There is... It's true. Only spooky games here. Okay, there isn't a lamp in that, so I just rotated this lady for no reason, I think. So she needs to be... No, because the table's on her left-hand side. That's okay, I'll play all the scary games for you. Sometimes, folks just need a buffer between them and the spooky game. I am that buffer. I love scary games. She's kind of turned toward? Okay, I think I have her where she needs to be. Oh. Okay, no, I don't want to turn her. I want to... Can I do this now? Did that work? It did it! I did it! We're gonna be playing Alien Isolation in April. I've been trying to find mods for it. Speaking of, that's something that I need to discuss with everyone, at least like in the server at some point, probably. Or here. Here works too. But Okay. I was trying to find mods for Alien, and I am not finding a ton. In fact, I can't even find the Squeaky Shoes one.
Appreciate the art. Fine.
So I don't
As long as
know
it gets me closer to you.
if
I'll
that's a
play
thing
your
that we still
game.
want to do. I'm gonna keep looking. But I'm not sure. Spaghetti! Thank you for the sub, friend. I appreciate it. Thanks. They're good Emmy emotes. Emmy's done a lot of my channel art for me. The Twitch banner that I have on my page. Pretty much all of the emotes that we have available. All Emmy art.
Who comes up with this stuff?
Sebastian, I like this painting. Sebastian, listen. I like this stuff. Innocent gift. You. Cat, that's my baby. That's Lamia. She's sleeping back there right now because she's a goober. And only ever sleeps. We love Llama Cat here. Freya! Thank you for the sub as well. Now you're all part of the Octo Squad. I don't know. I keep calling everyone that, and I don't know that I like it. But thank you, friends. No, they're good emotes. So thank you for the subs. You now get a lovely little Octo badge on the channel, as well as access to all of our emotes. I'm working on making follower emotes as well at some point. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But thank you, friends! Also, if y'all aren't part of it, I mean, can you pull up the Discord link? Squawkdo! Welcome, Squawkdos. I don't know if that's how you imagine hearing it, but that's how I heard it. Travis, thank you. But yeah, if y'all aren't part of our part of my server yet, and you would like to hang out, let's do it. Emmy, it's still a ways away.
Cation, I'm so excited to celebrate your birthday.
Thank you, Emmy, but also, it's a ways away. We still got a little bit. Thank you, friends. Thank you for the biddies. Thank you for the subs. It's not that close. Listen. I am just wandering around this freaking hallway. Sorry, they're like blooper teaming me right now and I hate it. I hate.
This guy's playing with me.
I hate sections like this. Come on. Look at all the gay biddies. We love the gay biddies. There's so much happening. Itty bitty biddies. Lovely little biddies. Thank you, Freya. Y'all are being too nice right now. Listen. TK, what hotel are you staying at that has this kind of art up? I would like to go there. I would like to go to this hotel. Is that moving away from me? I don't look like that was moving away for a second. I do. Oh, speaking of spooky hotels.
Preserved on silver nitrate, like a fly in amber.
I love bad art in hotels. Cause it's bad. Am I looking at the art again? Is this what we're supposed to do? Oh no, now there's a door. You just run back and forth until the game says you can have access to another room now. I love that for me. What was I saying? I'm a-comin'. Let's go. Road trip time. Gonna go see Freya. Let's go. What was I saying? Right. Speaking of hotels, I think sometime this year the next Dark Picture anthology is going to be coming out, which is very, very exciting. But also, Supermassive has announced a new game that is like a spiritual successor to Until Dawn, and it's supposed to come out in like July, I think, and I'm very excited about it. And I want to say it's called The Quake? The Quarry? It's QUA word. I'm gonna have to find it. But I definitely plan on playing it. the Quirky? The Quarry? There's a... yeah, I'll have to find it and post about it. I meant to yesterday when I found it, but it was like the middle of the night. The Mobius agent in the lobby of City Hall turned into another Frozen display. Poor son of a bitch. If he wasn't dead before he got thrown off there, he will be if he ever lands. Okay. Sebastian, whatever.
Another one.
But I'm very excited about that because I love those games so much. But I'm also very excited about the Dark Anthologies one. The Devil Inside or whatever? What is this? What is this? Give me that. Are you hiding more items from me back there? Do it! Get your errands done, Emmy! Happy erranding! I'm gonna get stuck in this terrible looping hallway. This came out in what, 2017? So this was post PT. Okay. Okay, I see what you're doing, buddies. Judging. Oh, it's our boy. Hold on, sir. I gotta make myself look real good before you take my picture. I love you. No, come back. Please. You can't just... I mean, I guess you can slam the door in my face. That was tragic. Oh, we're going... Okay, we're going down. I am sad. I am saddened by this. It's fine. We'll find him again someday. Oh boy. Oh boy. Right though? Poor Sebastian. Our poor buddy. You can... Sebastian, I need you to walk faster than this, okay? Spooky. Hi. Oh no, it's a camera monster. Sorry, I saw its legs.
What are these things?
This... Not great. What is this? Scrawled messily on some kind of fancy card. Too beautiful to leave in the street. I had to display them. Wish that I could take credit, but it's nice to know there are other artists in here with me. Yeah? Yeah? Was this the way you want me to go? I kind of want to look around before I leave the room. What if there are items? I can't run, and this is horrible. I'm not part of the turbo team. I have to walk slowly. I can't go fast. Hey, you have a few too many hands, pals. I mean, have however many hands you want, but I guess. I can't judge you for that. It's all the same pictures, everywhere. Yeah, this is just giving me like big PT vibes, and that's fine. But also, at least they kind of know what they're doing with it, and it's not just ripping off what PT did. Fun fact.
This has to be the emitter.
Hypercritical of PT clones. Fucking hate them. Honestly, like, I loved PT so much, but nowadays it's just everyone, I think, like, a lot of people just, like, mimicked the gimmicks that it did without really doing, like, any of the in-depth scares that PT had. I love a Superliminal. That's a good game. It does kind of remind me of, like, the meat locker section.
Authorization required. Please connect an authorized
Also,
terminal.
Terminal. Must mean this communicator.
gotta put it in there. Get it in there.
Restart sequence initiated.
Can we not restart while I'm taking a drink? Oh no. Actually, no, this is fine. It's a boy. And then he comes up and gives us a little smooch. Just
You've
mwah.
been searching for me
Right on
for
the nose.
so long. So I have come.
I love
But
you.
wait, it's not me you seek, is it? No, it's the girl.
I'm searching for
I should
you.
be offended. But how can I be? You're not the only person who wants her power.
That's fair. I feel like the tension is
There is another,
what
one
was
far
most of
more
the scares.
One who can offer rewards
was
you could
so
never
good.
imagine. So sorry, but you've been outbid.
Don't stab me. Oh.
Fear radiates from you.
Ouch.
It's beautiful, but not yet finished. I am Stefano.
I love you,
And
Stefano.
now you are my art.
I love Stefano.
Son of a bitch!
Love, 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 love. Alright. I mean, we all knew he was the bad guy, right?
Meet my beautiful Obscura.
Oh.
Restart sequence.
Gotta be kidding.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
That thing is stopping the emitter from activating.
Where did it go? Oh. 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 Oh, I hate this. I don't understand what I'm supposed to do. Where is it? Ah! I don't know what I'm doing at all. This is really bad and I hate it here. I don't know that this is working. Can you... I am going to die? I am going to die.
Got it going. I just have to hold it off until the emitter starts.
50 seconds.
I do really like the monster design in this game. In both of them,
70
honestly.
seconds.
Eek! Okay, this is fine. Oh! Stop! 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 Pay attention to me! You're supposed to pay attention to me! This is horrible. I am going to use all of my bullets on this thing. Her noises, though. Take. I mean, it makes sense. I have to shoot for the flash. Oh, she's coming for me. Oh, Lord, she coming.
40 seconds.
Stop! Stop doing the thing that you're doing! I'm going to shoot you in the camera eye again. Right in the aperture. Okay, maybe we stop trying to go for precision and just shoot.
30 seconds.
This is fine. We're doing great, actually.
20 seconds.
Alright, so just this last time? Fuck. Okay. I think so. I think you can. I don't think I have links disabled, but if not, you can whisper it to me.
Stable field emitter starting.
We did it! Oh, Stevens. I think I have it set up so that people can post links again. I believe I do. We shall find out. Okay, are we done being wiggly and awful? Also, hold on a second.
Saved my own ass. But what am I
My
supposed
phone
to do
turned
now?
off, and that's a bit of an
He's
issue.
gone. He didn't leave Lily here. Where did he
That's
take
true.
her? Should give Kibben an update about this.
Or not. We could also just not call Kidman.
Shit. Maybe I'll get a signal outside.
Don't need to call Kidman for anything. Kidman doesn't need to know anything that's happening. Ugh. I'm sniffly. And the game's flashlight is terrible. There's nothing in here. I wanted to see if there were any items. There are not. Are there any in here, though? Possibly. That door is locked. What do we got going on in here? Hey! Cool. Good. Thank you. Thank you for the clip, Freya. Also, good to know that links are functional. I thought I had turned it on, but sometimes you do things and forget. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I just have a bad memory. Oh, Herb. Herb. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. That is where I came from. This is where we're going. Consider. Glad I'm not alone in that. It's like, usually I'm pretty on top of things when it comes to, like, my stream stuff, but it's been it's just been a weird time, honestly, the last, like, couple of months as a whole. Health? How are we? You know what? Let's go ahead and use one of our syringes. And then we'll pick this one up. Replace what we just used. It's gonna be great. They have given me a lot of syringes. This, comparatively.
Can't believe these bastards used Lily like some kind of science experiment. And then they have the nerve to send me in to clean up their mess? It's like some kind of sick joke.
Okay, Sebastian. Whatever you say, buddy. Pronoun request from Freya. anyone in chat, if you are comfortable sharing your pronouns, please share them with us. I use she, her pronouns. We like to get a read on that, because sometimes it's hard to tell just based on username, and I also want to make sure that I don't misgender anybody. Frey uses they, she. TK uses he, him. Good. But yeah, only share if you're comfortable. No pressure. But thank you for reviewing that, Freya. There are some new folks around, and we want to make sure that we're being respectful. And a stretch and a hydrate. Alright. Listen. We can do this. Anytime that we do a self-care redeem of any sort on here at the channel, my channel, words are hard sometimes. It's highly recommended that you also do it. Because if I have to take care of my dang self, you gotta take care of your dang self. So everyone take a moment to do a stretch and drink some water. It's a weird stretch, I know, but it works. I'm gonna roll my shoulders too. Gotta wiggle it out. Yeah, no, it's a good thing to do. I try to do that in chats. I'm just a big lurker usually though. But if it's a chat that I like to talk in a lot, I'll try and do the pronoun redeem as well. Normalize asking, normalize using everyone's pronouns. It's not exactly how I wanted to say it, but it works, I think. I hope. Thanks. It's my Stranger Things sweater. It's a good sweater. A lot of my other ones are like super not tight, but definitely a little more. They're sweaters that you can only really wear on like with just them and nothing else, but I can like wear things under this one. It's good. It's good. Good. I'm glad you got up and stretched. It's super important. What am I doing? Good. Get all the hydration, all of the stretching. I'm gonna get all these keys. It's gonna be great. We'll probably take a short break here in the next few minutes or so. Because I've had enough water today that I do need to use the restroom. It's pee time. Not quite. Very nearly. So that would also be a good time for everyone to get up and do another stretch, drink some more water, refill your drink if you need to. Grab a snack if you haven't had something to eat recently. I do want to like get out of here though before we do that. Okay, I still can't look at my map. Is the ladder open now? The way Sebastian just kicks these doors open is very funny to me. It's just so needlessly aggressive. Even for like a typical door kick. Okay, yeah, I can't go there. Why? Where? How? What? There's a safe spot, which we know about. Do I go out? You want me to go outside, don't you? That's what Sebastian said, isn't it? He was like, I can get a better signal if I go outside. I am getting so turned around in this freaking building. We're just gonna run back and forth for a little bit while I figure out where we're going. Is this where I was? This is where I came from, though. Yeah, this is where we came from. Right? I found it. We're fine. This is fine. I have figured out what is happening. I think. Hey! I have solved the City Hall puzzle.
Son of a bitch still has Lily. And now I'm back to square one again.
So dramatic. Going from kicking the doors open to just pushing it open.
We've reestablished contact with the marker agent, Kidman.
About time.
Very much.
Patch him through.
Very much like the dramatic
Sebastian?
slow push that
Sebastian,
FromSoft
are you there?
does in their games.
Finally. Are you all right?
No.
That psycho is still on the loose in here. I turned on the emitter, and that seemed to slow him down. But he got away. And he's got Lily. She must be so scared and alone.
Oh, we got a scar on our face now. Look at how cool we are.
I've got to find her before he does something terrible to her.
I'm sure she'll be fine. I'm sure she'll be fine.
I'm so close. I can feel it.
We want to find her just as much as you do, Sebastian.
Yeah, sure you do. Don't want your precious experiment to fail. It would be a real tragedy to waste all that time and money.
I was speaking for myself, not Mobius.
Other cat.
I spent a lot of time with Lily during testing.
Love Black Cat so much.
She's a good kid. I don't want her to suffer.
So much.
I know things are bad, but I have faith in you. You've got to stay focused so we can save her. Together.
Yeah. Okay, you're right.
Are these
Thanks for
people in the
pep talk,
background?
Kidman.
I mean, they're
Don't
Mobius
worry about
agents.
it.
We know this.
But right now you need to figure
Who
out where
are
we took
they,
her.
though?
He said his name was Stefano.
Stefano. Copy that. I'll see what I can find out and send it to your room.
Okay. In the meantime, I'll check in with O'Neill. See if he can help me locate this psycho.
Can we stop casually
Sounds like a plan. Let me know if I can be of any help.
throwing around
And-
the term psycho?
Sebastian?
That's your baby? He's perfect and I
Good luck.
love him. Next time you get the chance, you should definitely give him pets for me.
Gotta figure out where he took her.
I love him. He do spin.
Think I might have just figured it out.
Calcifer
Not
says,
doing a very good job of
"Durr."
hiding. It's almost as if he's taunting me. Well, if it's a fight
Probably
he
because
wants,
he is
he's gonna get it.
Sebastian.
I just have to find my way there.
Alright. Oh my god.
O'Neill,
So much
it's
talking.
me.
I see the stable field emitter is back online. Please tell me you found the core and you're on your way back here.
Sorry. That lunatic still has her. But I think I have an
Sebastian.
idea of where he went.
I mean, he's a
Yeah, I
cop.
see it too.
I guess I
I'm
can't
picking up the
expect much
signal
better
again,
from
but now
him.
it's coming from the theater in the other part of town.
Right. Through the marrow again, I guess. May need a little guidance here.
I'm on it. Looks like turning the emitter back on stabilized some passages there. Exit D5 looks to be the one closest to the theater. I'm not totally sure what you'll encounter down there, so watch your back.
At this point,
Okay.
nothing would surprise me.
Okay. I want to look around before we do that, though. Chapter 6 already. My goodness. I don't think there's, like, really anything here, is there? Yeah, not really. Okay. Well, let's... Can I go in there? No, that's where I came from. Never mind. I know what that building was. Back inside. Perfect. All the sweet kittens deserve all of the love. Every cat ever. I love cats. Wonderful little doofuses. Okay, let's get in here. Can I go down that ladder now? Here? Where to go? I want to get to the... I'd like to get back to Sebastian's room. So that we can do some upgrading and stuff. And also pause. But no, we'll save and we'll take a short break. Because I gotta use the bathroom. It's save time. Great. Hold on just a second. Alright. Hop on over here real quick. Let me turn on some music for y'all. And I've got words on stream set up if y'all want to do that. If not, not a problem. But it will be up on the screen as I go use the restroom. So we'll take a short couple-minute break. And hi, Smiley, you're here just in time for us to walk away for a minute. Wow, look at my friend. Hi, buddy. But yeah, we'll take a couple-minute break. I'm gonna get some more water, use the restroom. We'll be right back, okay? Okay? Okay. Okay.
We're very much alike.
Remember all the happy times we had?
We're very much alike. All right. I'll tell you the truth.
And I'm back. Hello. I have a cat in my lap. Hold on a second. She's being extremely needy. Because that's what kitty cats do. Hi. I missed you too. Also look. Look, it's a little bee. We got the happy needs. The very sweet head butts. Hello. Yes, I love you too. She acts like I don't snuggle her all of the time. I do. I do snuggle you all the time, though. Hi. I'm gonna have to sit you down, though, because you're a little too wiggly. Okay. I love you so much. Down you go. Okay. Got cat fur all over my face now. This is fine. Let me... What? I don't want to squish you, kitty cat. Okay. I have now turned on the light as well, because it was getting a little too dark. But it's fine. I have to find just the right place to put the chair. I think that's good. Hi! You want me to put a blanket there? What do you want? Mommy is being a goober, and I adore her so much, but I need her to stop. Alright, let's get back to the thing. Let's get back to the game. Saw that Freya was gonna go on a lurk. That's totally cool. Take care of the work thing. We'll see you later, friend. We appreciate you being here. Smiley, how are you doing? How are things? Can I actually come down here now? Or, no. I'm just gonna keep going up and down this ladder for no reason. And hating every second of it. Do I have to go back into the building that got us here? What are you holding on to, Sebastian? There was nothing there, buddy. Hey, pal. You feeling okay? Nice. Beautiful. Video games and chill. It's a good way to round out the day. That sounds like a really good time, though. I'm glad that you had a good day. Good. Also, tell Binks and Pinky that I love them. They need to know. They need to know that they're very good babies. Okay. Good. It's important that they know. Where did Lamia go? Speaking of babies. She's drinking some water. Friends are always being cute. Welcome in, Alice. How is it going? How are you doing? It was nice to hang out with you last night. Oh, Binks. Oh, Binks. Does Binks know it's rude to talk with their mouth full? We'll forgive them, though, because they are baby. Binks' baby. But yeah, how's it going, friend? How is it going? I don't know if we're gonna do anything official tonight, but we might play some Elden Ring together? Question mark? I will be playing some Elden Ring at some point tonight, even if for just a little bit. Probably just a little bit. It's been such a sleepy day today. Alright. Can I help you, Lamia? Doesn't help that I've got a cat in the game yelling at me as well. Where are you going? What doing? Should you though? Look, listen. I want you to play with us. I want you to play with us. but also gotta be responsible, Smiley. Oh no, you gotta get more sleep. You gotta get more sleep. I say this as somebody who also sleeps like that. But also try and get more rest. Also, do you prefer if we call you Alice or Boss? I wanna make sure. Doesn't matter? Okay. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't a preference or anything. Also, Arcade High. I'm not gonna watch out. I'm gonna dive head first into all of the evil that is within. And you cannot stop me. Do I need to look at the projector? We haven't gotten anything new, have we? I don't think so. Okay, this is fine. But yeah, hi friends! Welcome in! So many friends today! This makes me very happy. Oh, it's the thing that we collected. Nice. Nice! I don't know where I'm supposed to go. I need the evil to not be immune to bullets. Preferably. If it could still take some damage. What are you doing over there? Okay, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Lami is being a goober, and I need to assist her with something. This is gonna take me all of like 2 minutes. Hold on. Oh, now? Unmuted now. Okay, this is fine. This is fine. Thanks, y'all. Thanks, y'all. I usually have a transition screen between the BRB screen and the actual game screen that unmutes me. But I just skipped that entirely. Also, like, my program, everything is hidden behind everything. Because I only have the one monitor right now. And it's weird. And I don't like it. I don't ever want to have to work with one monitor ever again. I'll just... Hey, at least 2 people will hear me that way. We'll just talk louder. It'll be great. Don't even worry about it. Okay, this is not where I need to be. Just the one. I know, it's horrible. It's fine. I brought my television with me, and it's a decent sized monitor. It acts as a fairly decent sized monitor, so it's fine. I can see more with it than I could with my regular monitor. How do you manage it, Travis? Honestly. That's fair. I was very adamant about not wanting multiple monitors for a very long time. Because I was also very lost about them, and then my entire life started revolving around my computer. Specifically my desktop. And especially with streaming, I was just like, 2 monitors is a must. I have to have 2 monitors. And it has changed my life entirely. It is difficult to go back to a single monitor.
This must be the passage O'Neill.
What is happening here? Okay, let's... I should have crafted stuff before we came here. This is fine.
Really?
It's fine.
This place is messing with my mind.
My usual setup is my giant television, and then... I hate the noises that this makes. Is my giant television and then like my regular size monitor, and I'll play all my games and stuff on my, and like watch whatever on the television, and then have like the regular small monitor for like Discord and like all of my stream programs and things like that. That's fair. I can see just using an iPad as a second monitor is being a good solution. I don't know. I stream enough and I do enough like at my computer that it seemed a worthy investment. In fact, I'm at the point where like a third screen might be nice. Hearing that Smiley has 4 monitors though, wild. I'm glad you found a monitor stand or a mounting thing. Yeah, monitor mount. That works well for that. Smiley is super fancy. Listen, not to call Smiley out or anything, but Smiley's super fancy. We love Smiley here. Hey, I can hold more ammo. Nice. Woo! I don't like that when their heads explode, that there's like a 2-stage for the explosion. This is fine. We're fine. I should have known that was gonna get up. I should have looked, but I didn't. But did we die? No, we didn't. All right. Now what? Always triple tap. Make sure they're dead. Hi, Bono. Oh, he has spotted me. Oh, he has spotted me. Hello, sir. This is fine. This is fine. How's it going, though, Bono? How are you doing? Welcome in, friends. Cutie Kaysh, more like Cutie Bono. Listen. How are you though, friend? Let's see. Is that all that's here? Is that it? Is that everything? Seems like that's it. Alright, let's go. All of the friends are here. Everything is great. Got all the friends. Glad you're doing well. Oof. Don't make me run down all these stairs. Okay, that wasn't that bad. You got this. It's gonna go great. But yeah, best of luck. You got this.
Whoa.
Oh.
What the hell is this stuff?
What is this goop? way they have to do hip x-rays are very funny to me. Not the goop. Look! It's my Monday Milkies. Gross. It's sticky. We're blowing bubbles in our milk. I hate it here. Actually, I hate it here. I don't want to be here.
To yourself, Myra. A secret society abducted Lily and staged her death. Do you realize how crazy that sounds?
Looks like Myra was right.
Why can't you understand that?
I know it's hard to accept, Myra, but she's gone. Our little girl is gone.
But I have proof.
Myra,
Look.
you're obsessed.
Listen.
You need rest. Once you get past this, you'll learn to accept.
No. I'll never accept it. If you won't help me, I'll find out the truth on my own.
Is it on all the monitors? It's kind of cool.
Myra.
Give me this. Give me that.
You were right all along.
Yeah, she was. Bet you feel like a right idiot for not
Why am I
listening.
seeing this now?
'Cause it's your guilt. Probably. I don't know. Oh, don't. Why are you hiding? Why are you running? Why are you running? Thought I saw a statue over there. It's fine. Let's get out of the bad goop room. Preferably. I would like to not be here where the Monday Milkies is. What the fuck was that? Excuse? Lad says, just like that. I would like to not fight the milk monster, please. Oh, I hate him. Oh, I hate him.
That thing. Maybe I can sneak past it.
Oh, this is terrible. Oh. How am I supposed to sneak past this when it is constantly looking at me? Please don't. Okay, yeah, no, it's Sebastian. We've done it bad, but that's okay. We just gotta go. It's just time to go. That's all. Please get out of there.
I gotta get the hell out of here.
I'm glad that that didn't punish me more than it did. I've never played Splatoon, but something tells me this is just like it. Also, I can't see. They keep turning my flashlight off, and I hate that. You would think I would have played Splatoon, since it's got little tentacle buddies. Ah!
Oh, shit!
Sir. Not like this, not like this, not like this. I'm glad that didn't use up my bullets. Okay, it's time to go, Sebastian. We gotta go, buddy. It's time to leave. Thanks.
I thought this place was supposed to be fucking stable.
no, it's not, and it never was, and O'Neill told us that it wasn't. Sebastian, O'Neill was very explicit about it being bad here. Why are we confused by this? Like, it would be one thing if, like, somebody just never mentioned it, or if, like, I don't know. There it is. Welcome back, Emmy. But yeah, it's like, it would be one thing if, like, somebody just, like, never mentioned, like, whether this place was safe or not, or was like, yeah, it's totally gonna be great, but O'Neill was very explicit about it being bad here. Displacement protocols, emergency core displacement protocols. It is imperative that a missing core be replaced as soon as possible. A core that has been missing for even a few hours can affect STEM programming. If the core is missing for over 36 hours, emergency protocols must be instituted in order to prevent the core from escaping. Excuse me. Emergency protocols are only accessible for Mobius operatives with alpha security clearance and can only be viewed on the Marrow servers. Great. I have hiccups. Hello? Sounded like somebody was moving in here. Please don't. No wiggling around in the room that I'm in. Okay, let's get out of here. It's time to go. Oh, nem. What's the joke here? Oh, excuse me.
Someone's been watching.
Thank you for getting the shout outs out there, me.
Lily. Whoever's been here was gathering data on her.
Of course they were! Like, Sebastian, please. You're
Don't
kind of
move.
an idiot.
You're Mobius, right?
Shut up! Don't say a word! You're not one of us.
Oh
No,
God.
I'm not. Kidman sent me. Look, I'm here to help, okay?
That's
My name is
okay.
Sebastian
Sometimes you gotta take some time
Castellanos.
off.
You're lying. Sebastian Castellanos is dead.
What? No.
Is this
Who
Myra?
told you that?
No, this is the lady.
Turn around. Do it slow.
One of the ladies that we had the dossiers on.
You're Yukiko Hoffman.
Why was that
How do
such a
you know my
dramatic reveal? Like,
I
we
told
know
you.
who she
They
is.
sent me in here to find my daughter Lily. The core. I'm telling you the truth.
I know.
You do?
Lack of microexpressions and deflection. No verbal parroting. I've seen enough to know you're telling the truth.
Right.
Her hair has
Seems
been rendered in
psychologist.
weird. It's fine.
I have to use whatever tools I have to survive. Combat isn't my forte.
Oh, jeez.
Seems to be a running theme here.
Sorry for pointing my gun at you. So they're sending independent contractors now? That means things aren't improving. Have you found any other team members?
One of them's alive
but
and
the
one
only
of them's
I
dead.
found alive is O'Neill.
Liam is alive? Good. Has
That's
he made any
fine.
progress
I'm
in
not saying.
stabilization?
The big emitter's back on. But this place is still falling apart.
Her bangs
and I
are
think
just
it's
a
all
little,
because of this
a
psycho
little
that
funny.
kidnapped Lily.
They were kind of
He's
poking
running
through
loose
her
in Union
face.
And can manipulate this place at will.
That means
That's
my
all
theory
I
is
was
correct.
saying.
This is more than a core disconnect.
I get
We
it.
doctors don't like to use the term psycho in pejorative terms. But in this case, it's apropos. Only a clinically diagnosed psychopath could affect STEM like this. A psychopathic personality type using Lily to amplify his power. This is the worst possible situation.
You're a shrink. Any suggestions on how to defeat him?
Psychopaths are antisocial, lack empathy, and exhibit sadistic tendencies.
Not
but their main
always.
commonality is their pathologic egocentricity.
Ugh, this
They don't
is
care
annoying
about
me.
people,
Okay.
only themselves. Can you think of anything that would be important to him?
Me.
Yeah. He thinks he's some sort of artist. It's all he talks about.
Then maybe the best way to attack him would be through his art. Destroying something valuable to him could knock him off his
MB.
guard.
I'll keep that in mind.
MB.
But I've got to get to him first. He's holed himself up in the theater.
Right. So exit D5 then. It's right here. Just in the next room.
MB.
Let's pair communicators so that we can stay in touch. I'll review my files and see if I can't dig up any more information about what's going on.
I mean, we've talked
Still
about
feel
it
like there's
before.
more
We'll
to
talk
this.
about it again.
Regardless,
Bring it up all the
he's probably gonna be
time.
difficult to fight.
Representation of
Feel
mental
free to help
health
yourself to anything here you might need.
issues in general is not always great in video games. They did
So does
okay
Lily
in the
really
first
think I'm
one, and
dead?
this one is just definitely
Or
kind of
was
going
that
down the
just a
road
part
of
of your lie detecting test?
bad.
Sorry to break it to you.
Smibey.
I thought it
MB and
was the truth,
Smibey.
too, until just now. But over the years, I've learned to take everything Mobius tells me with a pinch of salt. It wasn't difficult to
Perfect.
see you were telling
Beautiful.
the
Why would they do that? What kind of monsters do you work for?
truth. I know it's not right. But consider
Ugh.
this. Lily is
Right?
probably
Let us
less
just double
traumatized
down
by
on
thinking
doing
you're
it
dead
bad.
than by thinking you're alive, but she can't be with you.
Yeah,
Let's not.
maybe. But what will happen when I finally
Look,
find
I'd expect it.
Don't
I'd
worry.
expect it
She'll believe the
From-
evidence of her eyes once
from
she sees you.
Sebastian, because he's a cop, and we all know that
If
cops
Mobius
suck.
knew to keep psychopaths out of
However,
STEM, then how did one
this
end up in
lady
here?
should know
I don't
better.
know. Every individual in STEM was
Oof.
subjected to a battery of psychological exams prior to placement. And we've been observing them from here, in secret, to keep an eye out for mental instability.
Yeah, well that didn't work.
Unfortunately, psychopathy and sociopathy are incredibly difficult to diagnose correctly. Psychopaths tend to be cunning and highly intelligent. Aware of their own diagnosis, they're able to disguise themselves among us. The fact that this one was able to fool us, he's obviously adroit and self-aware.
This one.
Disturbingly so.
Great.
Ugh.
So the tests only filtered out the weakest of psychos.
I feel terribly
goodness.
responsible for all of this. I helped devise those tests.
You said you think there's something more to this?
Can we just
I
finish
studied
this
the Beacon
conversation
incident
so I can leave?
extensively, so that we can avoid
Please.
another disaster like that. In that case, the person in question was the core. But even then, the environment remained relatively intact.
Thank you for the bubble
Something just
bono.
doesn't seem right here.
What do you mean?
The creatures in here. The dissolution of union. The total breakdown in communication with Mobius. It
Wanted
just
to make
seems like a
sure
lot
Lamia
for one person,
curled back up, and she has.
even with the power of the core.
You mentioned someone before. Another person who wanted the core's power.
That could mean... No. It's too horrible to contemplate.
What?
There's only one thing that could be more powerful than a psychopath in here. But I need to do some research before I can commit to the theory.
I don't know. Would you like to tell me? Because I want to know. Is it a cis white straight man? Because those are pretty horrifying. You're right, Hoffman? More like loserman. Got him. You're thinking an empath? I mean, I could... realistically, I could see that. But also... okay, hold on. To all concerned, from Operative Grisham. Lily Castellanos' initial findings. The ideal core candidate must have an unfettered ego in order to retain their own personality while supporting the interlinked minds of many others. Given these parameters, there are only two possible candidate types. Egomaniacs with psychopathic tendencies, or children. A child. We all know what happened the last time an egomaniac with psychopathic tendencies was in STEM, so a child is our best bet. A child. Having access to standardized school test results, we were able to narrow down our options. We feel that we found the ideal core candidate in Lily Castellanos. Her tests show that she not only has a guileless ego, but she also exhibits incredibly advanced empathy for a child her age. We're sending her to Dr. Hoffman for further testing. Right? Game? A child. It's very good. Oh, this is where... No, wait, no. No. Go back in here. Also, right? Game. Way to just dump that info on me. But hey, you were right, Travis. It's an empath. There's nothing else here. That's the exits. I do have a lot of green gel, and we do have some red gel. Let's go ahead and... Oh, we have that slide to check out, and I think we get green gel from looking at those. So let's come in here. I can hydrate. Hold on just a second. Let me save, because last time we tried to check out the slides, the game, like, crashed. And I will do a hydrate right now. Reminder for everyone else to also do a hydrate. Drink some dang water. It's important. Thank you, Nem, for the reminder. Okay, we saved. Let's look at the slides. Hopefully they don't break this time. Okay. Here is the new one. Let's do a talk.
Pick up, Kidman.
I'm here.
The first time I saw Myra, she was wearing that uniform. I think I fell in love with her right then and there. I didn't want to admit it to myself, but after she was injured on duty, I knew I couldn't risk not telling her how I felt. She was such a great wife and mother that I sometimes forget she was a great detective, too. She was right.
Eye roll.
She knew there was something fishy about Lily's death. I mean,
Sebastian, please.
Kidnapping. I should have believed her from the start.
Yeah, you should have.
Predicted the truth, Sebastian. You know this.
But you reduced her down to nothing more than traditional femme roles. How dare you? I realize that might have sounded a little sarcastic, and that was not the intention. That was a genuine how dare you. Also, hey David, welcome. I have 180 parts. I guess we could probably upgrade something. How's it going? How are you doing? Let's get some firepower in there. Range might be good. Damage and range. We're gonna get increased range on, damage on the harpoon bolts. Let's also tired but surviving. No, we're doing all right. Getting through it, you know. Let's fill up on explosive bolts. Let's fill up on shock bolts. Let's fill up on handgun bullets. Yeah, because I had none. I've been getting some sleep. So I'm still tired, but we're doing good. Yeah. Just happy to be back to streaming. Yeah, all the bulls. Alright, what are we doing? What are we doing? Done the things. Oh, pickle juice. It's juice time. It's time to do the juice. Get that pickle juice in my brain. Right now. Right now.
You look like you could use some help, Detective.
I think I also have a key that I can use. Let's go. More juice. That's a good amount of juice that we just got from that. Let's go.
There's nothing wrong with being cautious, but you can't avoid fighting forever.
Grave.
Maybe you should think about adding.
Let's
some
move
combat
faster.
skills.
Let's also reduce the sway of our weapons, please. Let's kick back when firing. I don't know that that's a huge issue. So maybe... Oh, let's do that. Let's unlock that and then get more health recovered. When we hit a bad state. I'm happy with those upgrades. I'm very happy with those upgrades, actually. I like pickles. I like pickles. I am gonna save again, since we've done some upgrading, and I don't want to have to remember what I've done. That first save was really just to make sure that we didn't lose any progress, because we were looking at some things. Yeah, me over here only ever caring about the plants. Me over here being like, get that pickle juice in my brain. Okay, we don't need to talk to her anymore. We are not full on health, so let's go ahead and drink the bean juice. It's bean juice time. All right. All right. It's not where I wanted to go. The exit is over here. This is where I want to go. We love all the love going on in chat. It's very precious. Get me through the door! Give me the items. Is there anything over here? They might. Plants might create pickle juice. It's only one way to find out. Very nice. We leave. I would like to leave. Also, I think we're only gonna stream for like another hour or so. Just as a heads up, folks. Pickle juice has electrolytes. It's what plants crave. Give me. Team giving me supplies after I've already made all of my supplies is very rude. Incredibly rude, actually. That's fine. Let's get out of here. New location. Oh. I mean, probably not, considering pickle juice is acidic.
That thing nearly tore my arm off. Never gonna kill it.
Yeah, you had mentioned that, Bunno.
Need something bigger. I just need to get into that storage room outside the safe house. But Stevens has the key. She'll come back with the key and the APC. I just need to stay alive.
That clearly worked out very well for him.
Just gonna rest here and wait for Stevens.
Great. Great. He waited. He's still waiting.
All right. The theater. I'm coming for you.
Not the stinky giggler. Give me— no, I want to pick up the bottle, please. I need I need items and supplies. It's been a minute since we've been anywhere that had anything that we needed, like bottles. What was that bad growl? Excuse? Okay, let's get away from gaspy giggler. No, you don't see me. I'm not here. Actually... Fucking hell. Just do that. I'll pick that one up. Please. Horrible. terrible, even. There was no place for me to hide! Also, I thought I was searching that, not climbing on top of it. This is one of those games where E does everything, and not just, like, interact with things or pick things up. It's also, like, your Volt button. It's what you do to pick things up, it's what you do to climb over things. It's just everything, and I hate it.
Are locked.
Yeah, it's a big ol' eye. How do I unlock them, though? Investigate the theater. Okay, I imagine we're gonna be here for a while, so... Can I actually... Does this do anything? It does not. Okay, well, we tried. Down we go! Down we go! I also need to remind myself it's not worth it to kill every enemy we come across. Because it seems like they do respawn towards the end of the level. So if we have the extra supplies, we'll do it. Please, Sebastian, I need you to not miss. So yeah, if we have the extra supplies, we'll do it. But if not, oh well. That looks fine and normal over there. Okay, they want me to go towards the big angry eye! Can you not? Oh god. Okay, that's a bit of an issue. I need you to not stop running when they notice us, Sebastian. Alright? Listen. It's important that you keep going while all this is happening. Do they know I'm here? I was gonna try and stealth kill, but that didn't work. It's fine. No, I want you to grab this. Grab this. Thank you. There's gonna be juice in here. Or a bomb. One or the other. Beautiful. You love to see it. Give me more juice. I think it's just a smoke bomb that pops out. Or a rat? Oh! Oh no! Oh no! There was a big lady over there. Just garbage! Just garbage in here. Give me this. What's in here? What do we have in here? Anything cool? Oh, I don't like how quiet it is. Hey, game, we good? Oh, there's a thing. No, don't crouch. Jump over. Holy shit. That was incredibly loud. Oh boy. Can I pick that up? Can we investigate? Ding dong bing bong. A body has been discovered.
Thing in here with
Is this another ghost lady area?
I'm gonna die. I'd rather control how it happens.
Okay. Well, sir, how'd that work out for you? Surprise, Arcade's here.
Huh?
Why are you hawing? I think it's time we go. I think it's time we go. I think it's time to leave. This bad diner. No. Who is she and why is she here? Who is this ghost lady? We're just gonna go. It's just time to go. I hate these sections. And I don't understand why they're a thing.
What's it doing this time? What does that thing want from me?
That's a good question, buddy. Can I... Okay, back away from there. I don't understand what this has to do with anything else that's going on. I thought it was good science. I wanted to see if I could break it and if it would draw her attention. In fact, it does not. Open. Like, these are neat, but it's such a difference from the rest of the game, and I don't know that I like that. I don't know. Where am I going? And where is she? Did this just loop me? Yeah, it did.
There's something weird about this room. Something I'm not seeing.
Clearly, buddy.
That's me from back then.
Ma'am. This one? Is it the door that has the light coming from it? That seems correct.
Oh, shit.
Oh. I can't climb over. Ma'am, you can't... Where was she? I have to do this again. Are they all shiny? Or can I just go ahead and go through the door? No, I have to get jumped.
Something was
Okay.
up with that mirror. Something I should be looking for?
Not gonna, I'm just gonna carelessly do it. Can't stop me. We're just gonna do it. Oh shit. No. I hate this.
Oh shit.
Which door is that? The middle one? Yeah. That one. Can she just go? I'll be sure to look for the right one. Okay. I need her to stop camping the door that I need to go through, preferably. Horrible, horrible lady. Terrible, awful, horrible lady. It's over. It's like she knows. It's like she not hook campers. Please. It was giving me some the
Something's
hospital
wrong.
level.
Why is that thing chasing me again?
In DBD. Very much reminded me of that. Okay. Anything? Health. Health in the toilet. I don't need any though. Okay, that's fine. She's very good. Our friend Toadsworthy was playing as Sadako the other day. It was very good. She's very good. Okay, nothing there. Except rat. Where? Don't worry about it, Smiley. It's fine. What'd you do? You gotta share with the class. What'd you do? What'd you do? Whoop! Did you buy Elden Ring? Did you buy Elden Ring? Smiley! Perfect. Beautiful. Oh, hi! See you soon, Yam. Did you get it on the PlayStation then?
Sounds like someone's in trouble.
Nice.
Damn,
Oh! This is not great. This is not great.
Maybe I can get the jump on
This is not great. This is not great. Yeah. I will always be around to hang out and chat while you play, though. Give general tips if you want. This is not great. This is not. Why are you here too? You can't just do that, ma'am. That's a dead end. Excuse me, y'all. I gotta open this. Excuse me, give me a minute. I'm issues, honestly. Oh, he's got, like, limited health? How did that not explode his head? Okay, listen here. Okay. I'm super excited for you though, Smiley! Sorry, there was a lot happening. But I'm very excited for you. It's gonna be great. So we're gonna play tonight, yeah? Yeah? This is too many.
There's more of them. They're coming from
This
over
is too
there.
many, sir. Good. Good. I'm glad. I'm very excited. Fucking hell. Fucking hell. Come here, all of you. Come here. Actually, come here. This is not... That kind of set me on fire, but you know what? That's okay. Because now they're all on fire. Sir? Hey? That worked much better than I thought it would. Excuse me, I have a lot of juice I gotta pick up. There's a lot of juice here, my dude. And then I'll come talk to you, okay? No!
You just saved my ass.
Give me my juice.
You're from the search team. How did you end up here?
Give me my
I was looking for
juice.
something.
And what would that be?
Look, it's dangerous out here. Come to my safe house so we can talk.
Lead the way.
Come on.
No, I need to go pick up all the juice. I can't run. It won't let me run. There it goes. I was gonna say, if it's not gonna let me run because I have to follow him inside, I'm going to be very upset. I just wanted to pick up all of this juice. Look at all of this good pickle juice that's just lying around waiting for me to come get it. Look at that. All of this ammo? You love to see it. That's a bottle. It's not great, but I'll take it. Because we don't really have any anymore. There's some stuff. We love the pickle juice here. And we've got a melee weapon. This game has been much kinder about items in general than the first one was. But it doesn't quite feel as, like, pressing, honestly. I don't know.
Come on in. They can't
We're all screaming about pickle juice over here, boss.
Thanks again for helping me out. I'm Sykes.
Sebastian Castellanos.
Castellanos, huh? I've heard of you.
Everyone's
You
heard
survived
of
the
me.
Beacon incident, right?
How do you know that?
I'm a STEM
I
programmer.
can do a
but
hydrate.
I've got other skills too, like hacking information systems.
Water.
I know all kinds of things that nobody else knows, not even other members of the team.
Thank you, friend.
Then you know who Lily is.
Yeah, we're all trying to find her. Haven't had any luck though. That's why you're here, huh?
That's right. But if you can't help me with that, then we've got nothing else to discuss. Good luck.
Hey,
I'm
hold
gonna
on.
chug all that
We
pickle
might still
juice.
be able to
It's
help
gonna
each
be
other out.
great.
This better be good.
Look, there's a bunch of stuff in here that you could probably use. And you can have
Give
it
me.
for saving me out there. You want to hear my proposal? Come on back to me.
I mean, I'll hear him out, but I want to grab all this stuff first. We'll hear him out and see what time it is. Because like I said, I'm only going to stream for like another half hour or so. But we might try some of the arcade mode stuff again. Just to end on. Let's reload. Well, it's time to reload everything. Okay. Can we drink some of this coffee. Gotta heal up. Let's go. Let's go. Great. Is there any more stuff? Empty. Bruh, there's... Oh, are you gonna tell me how to open those?
I could get it open if you're willing to help.
All right, I'm all ears. How can we help each other?
What do you
I
want?
need you to restore the server inside the mirror. It should be easy enough as long as none of those freaks are around. Here's where it's located.
Hold on, I
Okay.
haven't agreed to anything yet. What's in it for me?
You do that for me, I can open up all the locked supply caches for you.
And what's in it for you?
That does sound pretty good.
If you get the server on, I may be able to find another way out of Union.
There's really a way to get out of Union?
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure as hell gonna give it a try. They've lost contact with STEM. We're
Yeah,
totally cut off. If we
I'm
don't find
enjoying
the
it.
core,
I still think
we're
I
all
like the
gonna die
first
here.
one better.
Unless I can figure a way out.
How's that possible?
You really want me to waste your time talking
But
a
this
bunch
has
of
been
technical
enjoyable
gibberish?
so far. I don't know. I feel like it definitely
All I
like
have
steps
to do
away
is
from
turn
the
it
way
on.
that like the narrative
How did the
worked
server go
in the
offline in the
first
first place?
one. Having
All
it
I'm
be
saying
like
is if
more of
you
an
turn
open
on that
area and
server,
having like
I can
side
give it a
quests
shot.
and stuff that you can
Look at this
do
place. It's breaking apart
kind
out
of
there. I'm
detracts
surprised
from it.
anything
It's
is
also
working.
just like a weaker
But
story,
then again,
honestly. The whole
Mobius
like,
probably turned
go
it off
find your
themselves.
daughter, save
They've
her
got all
from the
kinds of
evil
emergency protocols in
corporation.
place.
And you're
Not nearly
questioning
as
the almighty
interesting as
Mobius?
Hey,
what was
I don't
going on
mind
in the
being a
first
grunt.
one, but it's still
The moment I
good.
become expendable, well, that's when I start to look for the exit door. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
So, you gonna help me
Yeah.
out or not?
But yeah. Okay, let's. Yeah, I don't necessarily want to like start Sykes's side mission or go explore the theater just yet. So let's do some stuff in here. We'll upgrade. We'll look at the slides, which is why I'm saving right now, because again, I don't want the game to crash like it did the last time. Yeah, I mean, I think that's like its strongest point at this point is
Go on.
don't shoo the kitty cat away, is the monster design. It was also like one of its strong suits in the first one as well. But it's really cool just to see the variety of enemies in this
Kidman.
one.
Good to know you're still there, Sebastian.
After Beacon, I tried to make some sense of what happened to me, but everyone said I was delusional or hiding the truth. I started to believe that maybe they were right, that maybe I was crazy. I felt so frustrated, useless. Drinking was the only thing that killed the pain. So much time wasted. I could have tried harder. Shit.
Don't beat yourself up, Sebastian. When Mobius doesn't want to be found.
Don't make excuses for me, Kidman. I fucked up.
Look,
You okay, Sebastian?
This isn't the time to dwell on the past. This is the time to make up for it. Self-pity is what led you to drink in the first place. You have a chance to get back what you lost. Don't lose sight of that.
Harsh, but true.
Was it
You're right,
harsh?
Kidman. Thanks.
Okay, that's fine. Juice time. Juice. So, am I finding the slides in order? Because if so, then I've missed a couple, which is fine. Again, this isn't necessarily like a 100% run. If I find things, I find things. And if I don't, oh well. Let's go ahead and do that. I don't have the parts for that. I don't have the parts for that. Or that. Or that. Honestly though, I don't think he was very, very needed from the get-go. Shame for him. Okay, that's all I can do there. Let's do some crafting real quick. Let's make as much of this as possible. We're good everywhere else. I don't really use the smoke bolts, which is why I'm not worrying about making those. I think I have enough for a single upgrade. Yeah!
Detective Castellanos. Always a pleasure to see you.
We love umbrella offshoots here. Can we... do I have a key? I don't. No extra keys.
There's nothing wrong with being cautious, but you can't avoid fighting forever. Maybe you should think about adding some combat skills.
Neither of these are particularly useful because I do have unlimited stamina turned on. Let's do recover more. Yeah. That's... well, hold on. How much... oh, she's incredibly judgy. Oh, she's incredibly judgy. And we love her for it. Let's do the quick recovery as well. Hi, Allie. Yeah, so let's do some of the arcade stuff and then we'll call it there. So I need to get up and walk around. Gallery mode. Yeah, let's try very hard again. Let's go. Already doing better than we did before. Okay. Boop. Was that it? Did I do it?
That's perfect. You may very well be
Good
the
job,
best
Ellie!
detective.
I'm proud of you. I did it! We got that 10,000 goop. Nice! We are gonna do this a couple of times. Travis just wanted to make sure you knew. Let's do this. Let's get the blues out of here. Look at all that goop. Yeah, this is fine. This one's a little harder just because you have to, like, color match. But that's fine. Not doing too bad. I don't think I'll get this one anytime soon, though. But we might as well try. Just like Bubble Shooter. Absolutely. There we go. Like, there's gotta be an art to this. I'm just not doing it.
Your efforts are admirable, but your results are less so.
Yeah, I get it, Tatiana. I didn't do it great. In fact, I did it worse than I did last time, and I think that's because I went a little slower. I'm gonna try one more time. But yeah, we'll do one more of this, and then we'll call it there. But it was nice getting back to the within. This week's been a little weird as far as planning's been concerned. But that's okay. This is better than the terrible pipe hacking minigame in BioShock. It's fine. It's been a weird week. What? Alright. Can we maybe get more of these purples here? Possibly? Pretty please? This isn't great. I'm not doing great. Yeah, no. Alright.
I thought I was better than that.
Don't need to hear him screaming about being disappointed again. This is fine. Let's go save. And then we'll end this here. We'll pick this up tomorrow. Plan is to stream tomorrow, but we'll see. I might sleep more. It's kind of been the whole deal lately. Okay. Boop, boop, boop. Hi, Stars. You are just in time for us to end. I'm exiting out of the game. Hold on a second. We love you, though. I hope everything's going well, that you're doing good. But we're happy to see you, friends. I said it. I said the S word. I am ending. Yeah, I plan on normally going for a little longer than this, but it's been a long day. It's been a long week. I have streamed for almost 3 hours. And I need to get up and stretch and take care of some stuff. So we are going to end here, but I was happy to see you stop in, and it was really nice to hang out with everyone and just be here for a bit. Like I said, I plan on streaming tomorrow. We'll do more Evil Within 2, but that might change. Who knows? I'll let everyone know on the appropriate platforms, though. But yeah, let's find somebody to raid. Go hang out with. Stars, are you streaming right now? Stars? Y'all want to go? We want to go hang out. Go hang out with Stars. Let's go hang out with our friend Stars. That's okay for you. It sounded like work was getting a little busy for you, but you're here just in time to say goodbye. I see. Okay, well, we might see you in a hot second, friend. No, we're gonna go right over to Stars. Thanks for hanging out, everyone. Our raid messages are above. The first one is for everyone. It's got global emotes on it. Second one has our channel emotes, so subs can use those. But yeah, until next time, take care of your dang selves. Have a good rest of your time zone. Yeah, I'll see a lot of you later. It's gonna be great. But yeah, bye, friends.